This is really important. I really am realizing that a lot of us do this and we don't even realize we're doing it. We say, yeah, but we say, I call them in my horsemanship world, I call them yeah, butters. And a lot of times we do it because we're legit mismatchers. And I'll go into what mismatching and matching is here in just a second. But I'm going to give you some really great insights about why. So make sure you're watching this to the end. I'm going to keep it short. So don't worry, I'm not going to take a lot of your time, but thank you for your time. I appreciate everyone that shows up to my lives and reaches out and asks questions, because every single thing I've learned and I'm sharing with you guys has been that I'm sharing with you is something that we've all been through, we can all relate to. And incidentally, I learned a ton of this from horses. And I started in my career, my goal was to go to the Olympics. And that was really kind of a crazy thing to think about. Looking back on it now, I'm like, wow, like never think small, Jen, never. So my goal was to go to the Olympics in something called 3-day eventing. And 3-day eventing, if you look it up, it's probably one of the most challenging sports for horses. I'm sure there's someone out there. So one of my mismatchers out there is going to be like, oh, this is more challenging than 3-day eventing. But let me tell you, it's tough. It's where the horse goes cross country and has to jump these massive jumps. And then, and a lot of times they get hurt, and you wear like you're wearing like a crash test dummy vest, and and helmets and like all kinds of protective gear. And then you have to do stadium jumping, which is those really high jumps inside an arena. And then you have to do dressage, which is ballet with horses. So it's like this all encompassing sport that is really, it's really tough, because you have to have a horse that's all around. So I'm going to turn off lives for this. Like, you guys, David Boss, if you want to go live with me, message me privately and we'll set up an arrangement to do that. I'm not just going to bring people on live. But thanks for asking and thanks for watching. But I wanted you to think about, like, oh my God, this is an Olympic sport, right? And incidentally, for those of you that don't know, equestrian sport is now, I'm not going to start any kind of controversial political discussion about gender issues, but historically, equestrian sport is the only sport where men and women compete equally against one another. And so I'm not going to get into any transgender issues. It's just historically that's been the case. And age doesn't really matter either. There was a competitor in the equestrian sports several years ago that was 67 years old, like one of the oldest, competing Olympians. And so I'm like, all right, well, I'm almost 30. When I got into horses, I was 29. Did it as a reward to quit smoking. So I said, all right, if this guy can do it in his 60s, I could do it in my 30s. So like, all right, need me an Olympic horse. I didn't realize that I just couldn't go out and buy some, get a quarter horse and take it to the Olympics. I mean, it's a little different. But what I did discover is something called natural horsemanship. And it's a way to communicate with the horses. A lot of people know about it these days, although it still represents less than 5% of people that are out there training horses. So natural horsemanship establishes rapport with the horse, establishes respect in a benevolent way. It actually teaches you, and I wrote about this about a week ago, where we're talking about, it teaches you leadership. It teaches you about relationship. And if you go down the journey, I asked about this, what I was talking about. If I'm asking you what your goal is, do you want to be good with horses? Do you just want to enjoy them? Do you just want to pet them? That's fine. In fact, please just be that, if that's really what you want, because the alternative is, do you want to become a horseman? And that really makes me emotional, because it's a journey. It is a journey to truth within yourself. It's a journey into shadow work, because sometimes, like the other day, Dante, I've had Dante for 18 years and he's 22 years old, and to this day he is still one of the most challenging horses I've ever worked with. I've worked with hundreds, maybe thousands of horses, and top 3, 100%. And I've had him for so long. And yesterday he was out there and I was like, oh man. And I heard the rip. And he had somehow managed to get his teeth on the screen door coming through my breezeway and rip the screen out of the door with his teeth. I'm like, are you serious? You're still doing fraternity boy tricks at, you're old. Will you please act old? Yeah, that's not going to happen. Right. And he's also a mismatcher, which is what I referred to earlier in the video. So when you think about getting rid of the but, like we're going to take the but out of the language, because what happens when you say but, and my dad even told me this when we were kids, like this is not a new concept. When you say, yeah, that's true, but right, the minute you put that but on it, the but is the brakes on the momentum of the idea. I'll say that again. The but is the brakes on the momentum of the idea. So it's like, yeah, going to an Italian restaurant would be a good idea. But this new Greek restaurant that just opened up, right? See how you put the brakes on the momentum of going to the Italian restaurant with the but, and then a redirect over to something different, or a negation of the Italian restaurant. Yeah, but I had Italian last night. We're not having Italian tonight. Right. And a lot of people have this happen in conversation. And if you have someone that does that to you consistently, that's just sort of their nature and how they show up, you can rest assured that they are what we call a mismatcher. And mismatchers aren't bad. My ex-husband was a mismatcher. Now, he was bad, but for other reasons, not because he was a mismatcher. And I look back on my relationship with him, and everything would have happened the same. I would have left and all of those things, but I would have gotten along a little better with him had I understood the concept of matching versus mismatching. And matching are people that see the similarities in things first and are more agreeable to suggestions and ideas. Right. And so if you're nodding, they call it the Sullivan nod. Would you like to try the new oat milk latte, whatever? And you're nodding your head. They'll be like, yeah, because we tend to want to be like the people that we are around. And you were just influenced, right? So everyone's influencing us. And if you're a mismatcher, you have a hard time coming in and going, oh, yeah. I'll be like, yeah, no, I don't want to try that. I want to stay right. So they have mismatchers tend to be more boundaried in their language, but not necessarily in their principles. That's a little too deep for a live on Facebook, but I want you to get this concept about using the word but, or having a brakes on the momentum of the idea. Now, that doesn't mean that we don't put brakes on the momentum of bad ideas. You just have to have discernment about what is a good idea and what is not a good idea. And mismatchers think all ideas are bad unless they came up with them. So handling a mismatcher, if you are a matcher, someone that, yeah, Italian, that sounds good. I had Italian last night, but you know what? Sounds good. But see how I used the but in a different way? It's still negated, but it negated not the momentum of that idea. It negated the idea of the Italian that we had the night before. It gets tricky when you start getting into more complex conversations and when you get around groups. So you're thinking about leadership. How do you lead a mismatcher? How do you lead a matcher? What does that look like for you? Well, I could be really glib and say, well, come to one of my weekend retreats or go through one of my programs and I will tell you how to deal with a mismatcher. But I'm going to tell you now, like how to get out of using the word but when it does not serve you. Right. Because if you're sitting there going, man, I really want to go to Hawaii, but airfare is expensive. They're having fires, you're putting an engine at the other end of the train, right? So you have one engine at the train. I want to go to Hawaii. And at the other end of the engine is all the butts, right? No pun intended. Like all the other things that are keeping you from going. So all you have to do is two things. Decide which end of the which end of the train is getting the most momentum. Is it the before the butt or after the butt? And then decide how badly do you want to go to Hawaii, right? And once you decide how bad you want to go to Hawaii or whatever it is, have $1 million, have a great relationship, whatever it is, you have to then be a leader for yourself. You have to decide where are the butts on the other end of the train trying to get us to go in a different direction, because that's all the butt does. Puts the brakes on and redirects to some other option, right? Not necessarily a bad thing. However, when you think about like books, really great books like Think and Grow Rich, and you'll believe it when or you'll see it when you believe it, and anything with Wayne Dyer or Hicks or Dispenza or any of the greats out there. And I'm even going to put myself in that category because I understand this concept. Dante taught me this concept in spades. He's my big red horse. He's so amazing. And he is the biggest I call him butters. He's the biggest butter I've ever met. I'm like, hey, will you go to the left so I can give you a big scoop of grain? He's like, nah. So he does the butt when it doesn't even serve him. Hey, you want a carrot? Nah, I'm going to go over here and do something to annoy you. Right? So even when it's not serving you. So is it serving you to keep your money, stay at home, live in a cave, not go to Hawaii, all the stuff at the other end? Well, if you're not going to Hawaii, it's obviously serving some purpose. So you got to understand and look at it. Like, where is the butt in your life that needs to be removed, that needs to be handled and taken care of and put in a place where you can get the momentum on the trip to Hawaii or the $1 million business or the great relationship or whatever is truly in your desire. And a lot of our butts aren't even our butts. They're somebody else's butt. That's kind of fun to say. So if you think about it that way, like the butt, but it's expensive. No, it's not. I went to Hawaii for free, right? Wait, how did you get to Hawaii for free? I stopped telling myself it was expensive, right? I figured it out. I figured out the way to get there. I do the same thing with a lot of things in my life like that, right? Where I go, okay, I'm gonna I have this property, and I'm gonna be doing a live later today, taking everyone on a tour of this beautiful facility. I'm gonna be doing a little video around the property because everybody's like, oh, I want to come up and see the horses and see the property. I'm like, here you go. I ain't got time to say, you want to see the property, or you want to see the property, or you want to see the property, and you want to see the horses, and you want to see the horses. And I know I can't, let's come to an event, come to an experience, something like that, right? So come and experience it. So I'm going to go around the property. And what came up for me around that is that there were a lot of butts at the other end of the train that was going towards this property. And I knew I had to get here. So whatever those butts were, how are you going to afford it? What's sustainable? Where, what's this going to, who's going to pay for that? Who's going to take care of the grass? Who's going to take care of the water softener? Who's going to, all these things, right? That all those questions. I actually had to stop talking to I couldn't talk to my mom. I couldn't talk to I could not hear the word but, or I would not end up in Hawaii at this place, at the Italian restaurant. I would not have had the momentum because I barely had. I really took everything out of me to get this place, right? It really was a lot because I had so much momentum, so many butts going the other direction, right? So think about that. Where are your butts on the train going in the wrong direction from where you truly want to be? Identify them. Anytime you hear you say, man, oh, Hawaii. But you know what? Next year, that's going to be kind of tough because I got a lot going on. You want to go to Hawaii, yes or no? And that's the key piece. Now, mismatchers, don't think I'm picking on you because you serve a purpose too. You mismatchers out there, you're the ones that when we say, yeah, but we have a lot going on. Now, us matchers over here, if we have decided, if the leadership has decided, meaning you, if you're leading yourself, or you and your team, if you're leading your team, whatever, if we have made the decision to go to Hawaii or build, I jokingly say, build a Jello rocket ship to the sun, then the mismatchers become the attorneys and the engineers and all those other things. Instead of saying, we're not going to build a Jello rocket ship to the sun because we don't know where to put the seatbelts, we're going to say, we're building a Jello ship to the sun. You figure out where to put this. Yeah, well, you're going to need seatbelts. Yeah, but you need safety equipment. Yeah, but you need disclaimers. Okay, get them, because this is the decision that leadership has made. And we're going here. We're going to Italian. in Hawaii on a Jello rocket ship, apparently, right? So, and when you decide, here's the key piece, matchers, you guys out there that are like, let's do this. We're going lime Jello rocket ship to Hawaii to eat Italian, right? So when you get there and you're like, this is what we're doing, you have to stand in your truth, because mismatchers will plant seeds of doubt. Well, yeah, but those seatbelts aren't going to adhere to that Jello, right? Yeah, this isn't going to, the windshield is going to get sticky when it gets close to the sun, yeah, and they'll plant seeds of doubt for you. So watch out for those, the yeah butters out there. And you got to decide and stay in alignment with what you truly want and how bad you freaking want it. Right? In first part of the book, Think and Grow Rich, one of the best books ever penned in the history of mankind, in my opinion. Feel free to disagree. And this young girl goes into and she's a young girl of color. And this book was published in 1938. So things were different back then, guys. So just stay with me. A young lady of color, grown white man, young girl comes in and says, my mammy needs that 50 cents. She needs that 50 cents. And she says it was such intensity and such conviction and such certainty that inexplicably, the grown man who was going to beat the crap out of her reaches calmly into his pocket and pulls out the money and gives it to her. And the girl's like, backs out of the takes the money and runs, right? But the key piece is that she was so certain. Can you imagine all the yeah buts that were going through her mind? I got to go get that 50 cents. Yeah, but he's going to beat the crap out of you. Yeah, but he's it. Yeah, but all the seeds, those buts, stop the momentum of the idea and plant seeds of doubt. Now, they don't always do that if you have the certainty and the conviction. Yeah, but he's going to beat the crap out of you. If you are not so certain and so convicted in what you're trying to achieve that he's going to give you that money instead of hit you with a stick or whatever was going to happen that was bad, right? So you have to understand that the butt has a purpose, figuratively and literally, right? And it's also important to understand when to listen to how it redirects you to get to the Italian restaurant in Hawaii on a Jello rocket ship, and when it's planting seeds of doubt that come from a disempowering place. That's the big difference, you guys. Having that come through from a disempowering space, all that does is put the train at the engine at the other end of the train and takes you further and further away from what you want, or puts you in a space where you have to have so much certainty and so much conviction and so much determination. You can, not always, get burned out, depleted, exhausted, frustrated, and feel negative emotions around the original idea. So when you have an idea and you want it, you just set your pick, right? Like basketball player, you just set your pick and say, this is what we're doing, right? Because strong leaders do what? Make decisions quickly and change their mind slowly. And weak leaders change their mind quickly and make up their mind slowly. They overthink things. They get stuck in their head. They listen to the yeah buts. They listen to too many different voices, and they don't trust source and energy. I listened to Wayne Dyer, and he's talking about how he writes his books. And he doesn't go and do research and listen to what other people are saying. He just downloads from source. God rest his soul. Wrote over 40 books, maybe more. But and he just I would type 78 words a minute, just channeling through source. He's like, I'm not even sure how this is happening, but it's happening, right? And that's what you've got to think about when you are connected to source and in alignment. The only reason yeah butters show up in your life is to figure out where to put the seatbelts and how to get to the Italian restaurant in Hawaii on that Jello rocket ship. What flavor? Jello, right? And when you are, this is a last little nugget. I'm gonna give you a little bonus nugget here. This is a super important piece. When you are starting to share your ideas with people, like let's go to an Italian restaurant in Hawaii on a Jello rocket ship. I don't know how that came up, but it just did. When you do that, when you put that in place, your alignment to source expands. And when you do that, you can trust yourself at a much deeper level. And when you do that, you can do two things. You can know who has earned the right to hear your story. How many people are in your 2 a.m. inner circle? I have a great inner circle group of ladies that the 2 a.m. baby. You know, if we show up in the middle of the night and in the pouring rain at 2 in the morning and you have a shovel, I just quietly get my coat and come help you bury the body. Right? Those are the kind of people that you can tell your ideas to when you are in a space of trying to understand whether or not your idea is a connection to source or something that's giving you secondary gain from the world of the 3D and the ego. I don't know if I could repeat that, but when you put yourself in a position to start sharing your ideas with others, have discernment, watch out for your mismatcher friends, and watch out for the yeah butters and the people that don't say, like, we're Jello rocket ship, what flavor Jello? That's the only question I want people to ask me. What flavor Jello? Let's do it. Yes, and. Yes, and. That's the actual question, right? So get people there. When you ask them the question, the answer is yes. I spent some time with the Amish, and certain aspects of that certainly were not pleasant. But one of the things I really respected about their entire culture was it was a culture of yes, we'll do it. The answer, I would never heard anything like it before in my life. I was like, they're like, yeah, we can do that. Yep, we can do that too. The answer was yes, right? And I don't know where it came from or why it showed up, but the answer was almost always yes. And very solution driven culture. And I really respected that. Again, other things I don't, but especially with the way they treat their animals and dogs and horses specifically. Others too, but horses for sure. But that aside, I want that Amish mindset when I start sharing with people. You know what, guys? I want to radically disrupt the equine rescue industry. Awesome, Jen. How can I help? If you aren't asking me how you can help me, and I'm not going to be asking you how I can help you. And it's like, well, who goes first? I do. Me. Pick me. I will ask first. But you're not going to stick around very long if there's not something else that goes along with that, right? And that doesn't mean that it's a give and take and we're keeping track and, you know, you got lunch yesterday, so I'll get it today, that kind of crap. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the mindset. I'm talking about the heart. I'm talking about what it actually takes to have someone in your corner and when they say, I've got you, you know, you can relax and trust it and be in a safe container. How many people have ever been betrayed by somebody that said they got you? I got you. I got you. I got you. And then they don't. And the trust fall and you fall flat on your back, right? Thanks for the likes. Yay. So that's a really important piece, right? That you got to understand when you're dealing with people that are yeah butters. Yeah, but, yeah, but, yeah, but, yeah, but. What the hell is a yeah, but? Because I'm tired of hearing you say it because I'm going to an Italian restaurant in Hawaii on a lime jello rocket ship. You can either go with me or not. And a lot of times they will because they're just intrigued by your passion. I know I get that a lot. I mean, obviously, you guys, anybody that's been following me for more than 5 minutes knows that I'm passionate about horses and knows that I'm passionate about helping women and knows that I'm passionate about helping people and helping people become better leaders for themselves and better lovers of themselves and better believers in themselves. Like that's such a deep passion for mine. If you are watching, I hope you know that my goal is to serve you, guys. How can I help? How can I help? Right? You know, I might help you, but 2 a.m. inner circle people, we're always fighting for the check. Nope, I got it. I got you. I got you. No, I got you. Right? And we got each other. And then the deeper the connection gets, the stronger the coherence is, the more you can trust one another and have that, right? And the more time that goes by, because trust happens over time. It doesn't happen overnight. It's not some like one big grand gesture. And how do you know who to trust? Now, that one I will send you to my mastermind. I have a 4-week mastermind coming up. I'm starting on the 23rd, every Monday night, ladies only, 7:30 to 9. We're going to be doing some virtual, all of the stuff that you get me live 101, asking me questions and going through my course. Also, you get $500 off a live experience in person with the horses, whatever you would want to do, including, drumroll please, my full 5-day immersion, which I will be I will be posting about probably, I'm not going to say, I don't know when I'm going to do it, but it's been a while since I've done one and it's time. I feel that there's a good energy out there. It's 8 ladies all here on site for 5 days with the horses and we deep dive in, guys. It's incredible. One of my favorite things to do. On that note, remember to listen for how people show up. If they're saying yeah, but consistently, if it's in their character, if it's in your character, if that's you, and how to deal with it and keep the momentum. When you decide you want to go to Italian instead of Greek, go, right? Go that way and don't let any yow butters plant those seeds of doubt for you. And be careful who you tell your story to. Get that momentum. The train is going here, or the Jello rocket ship is going here. Make sense? Great, guys. All right, I'm going to take out. Have an amazing day. It is Wednesday, October 11th, and I hope 10, 11, 23. We're coming solid and strong into Q4 of 2023. I hope you guys are having an incredible day, and remember to believe in yourself. It will change your life. Reach out to me if you want to come and play with horses and learn about these concepts and technologies and have a lot of fun in paradise. I'm in South Florida. I have amazing animals, and they are trained very specifically to do this work. So awesome, guys. Take care, and I'll see you tomorrow.